Mom here, and today I'm going to be decorating this wooden letter M for my studio, and I want to do so using my 28 Lilac Lane bottle. And I feel like the very best bottle for me to do this, since this is a monogram for myself, is the On Lilac Lane. It's all things purple and lovely. In fact, I will pour it out so you can see here exactly what I'm talking about. So this is my favorite little dish to pour from the bottles out. And just a little tip, if for some reason when you're starting to pour your bottle, sometimes some of the bigger buttons get stuck, turn it. Don't try to shake it up and down, just give it a little spin. And for whatever reason, if I turn it, that tends to loosen up if there's a button clog. As you can see, once I give it a spin, once I get an initial clog out, my goodness, everybody wants to come out and play. And these bottles have way more than just buttons. These bottles also have seed beads, sequins, and half pearls. So there's a lot of beautiful goodness. And this particular bottle, this On Lilac Lane bottle, is color matched to my personal lilacs here at my house. So it's a little more pinky purple, which I love, because to me, I can get a lot of like bluish purple, but it's harder to find those beautiful pinky purples. So we're gonna get started on this. I've got my buttons, I know what I want to do, but I need to do a little bit of pre-planning. So looking at this, I feel like I would like to have not just raw wood on the front. I'm not going to worry about the sides, but on the front, I don't want just raw wood. So I am going to pull out some metallic paint. This happens to be a Prima acrylic paint from the Art Alchemy line. This is Opal Magic Rose Gold. I feel like rose gold will just be so lovely for this project. So I'm just going to pull some out, and I've got a bigger paintbrush. And like I said before, I'm debating a couple different things for the outside edges. Those will be done last, so I'm not going to worry about those right now. What I'm going to do at this time is simply prep the inside by making sure that all the surfaces are coated with this beautiful paint. Once you have let the paint dry, or at least mostly dry, I can see in a few of the cracks that there's still a little bit of dampness to the paint, but for the most part it's dry. You're ready to play. Now you could go either way. I am going to line my buttons up along the top edge. I'm going to do it along the top edge because I feel like they're going to show up a little better. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun as well. I'm going to be using Matte Finish PPA, Perfect Paper Adhesive. This is the adhesive that I always recommend for all of your dimensional embellishments. It's also a great decoupage or collage medium. It's just all around fantastic because it's acid-free, archival, and it dries completely clear and matte, assuming you're using the matte finish version. There is also a glossy version, but to be perfectly honest, I just almost never reach for that one. Okay, so as you can see, I've just really coated everything well. And then I'm going to start with the larger item, which would be the buttons. And I'm just going to place buttons here and there. I'm not, for something like this, where most of my buttons are about the width that I have here, I'm just going to save a little bit bigger ones for right here. These 3 points here are a little wider, so I'll use bigger buttons there. But other than that, any of these buttons are just fine. We can just line them all up. If you wanted to use less buttons, or if you wanted to mix more of the sequins and things in, you certainly could, especially the pearls. For example, here I've got a littler button. Maybe I tuck a little pearl and a couple little sequins in. I can also tuck sequins or pearls underneath. There's really no hard rule here, guys. You're able to do whatever you would like. So, and if somebody falls in, you can use your fingers, or if you're trying to make sure you don't disrupt anything, grab some tweezers or jewelry pliers and do it that way. Now up here at these joints, we're going to get into a little something different because it goes all the way down to that teeny tiny point. Probably going to want to put some beads down on that point. I'm not going to put beads just yet. I'm going to wait until the very end to get to beads. So for right now, what I'm really just doing is looking at if I have sequins and pearls, all that fun stuff, and just filling in the space. The adhesive's going to stay damp for a while, so I don't have to worry about hurry up. I can just take my time and fill this in. Once you have covered the surface with buttons, the next step is we're going to do two things. We're going to fill the gaps. As you can see in the little dish here that I've been working out of, now all the beads are are more easily accessible. So I'm just picking up 2 or 3 at a time and placing them. If they fall down into my letter, I'm not going to worry about that. Once this is dry, I can easily scoop them right out of there. So I'm using my finger. If you have a little tool of some sort that you'd prefer to use, that's fine too. And I'm just placing them in any gaps that I see that I want to have a bead in. Now, of course, I can also use my little jewelry pliers here if I want to individually pick up and place beads like so and make sure that they get exactly where I want them. The other thing I'm going to do at this stage, if there's spots that need a little bit more adhesive on the side to add a few little beads, I will do that. The other thing that I will do is in a few spots, not all over, but in a few spots, I will put a little dab of adhesive on top of 2 buttons and then place something. Since this is a decor project, we really don't have any rules as far as how bulky it can be, if it has to be 1 layer. There's really no rules whatsoever, you guys. So what that means for us is we can just play around with adding a button on top here or there. Maybe one of these beautiful sparkly buttons that I love so much we can put maybe up over here between these 2. So we can layer up. The pearls are great, the sequins are great, really any of it, any of the smaller stuff. And if you want, you can have it. I like to do it towards the edge of a button just because I feel like it is a little better of a look for my own personal taste, but you could certainly do it in the center of a button if you prefer. And if there's a spot like right down here where I've got a little bit of an awkward gap and it's a little bigger than I'd like, well, just a little bit of that, and then I just dig through here and find either a tiny button, or if I need a few more buttons, I can certainly pour a few more out. I like these little oval ones for this. I can just add a little button, and then if needed, add a little more glue and add another pearl, add a sequin, whatever it is that I feel like I've got will work best. We're definitely going off of size at this point and letting the size of our embellishments and things decide where we want stuff to go. Now, the glue will remain pretty loose for a while, maybe an hour. It stays wet a good amount of time, which is excellent when you're working because you've got time. You don't have to stress out about that it's going to all dry and that you're never going to get everything down in time. You've got some time. And as you can see, now I'm adding some sequins as another layer here on this project. However, that dry time, it is going to mean one thing for you. What that dry time is going to mean for you is that everything's wiggly. So you're just going to want to be really cautious as you work that you're not banging into things that you've already placed. You're going to want to just take care, you know, exactly. I'm a little klutzy here with my wrist brace and all that, but you're just going to want to take your time and make sure that whatever you've got or whatever you're putting down, that you're not like wiggling all the other buttons around. If you do, it's not a big deal. You can push everything into place. And finally, you're going to want to make sure at the bottom, I just run, every once in a while, run my finger along the bottom. Make sure nothing is poking out over the bottom. You're going to want to make sure nothing's poking out over the bottom because we want to be able to have this stand up flat. And it won't stand up flat if you've got things poking. So you'll want to double check on that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial here. I'm just going to add a few more beads and details to this. Since it's got that beautiful rose gold paint, which actually did get extended lightly over onto the sides and that sparkle, I feel like this is going to be, as soon as it's dry, ready to hang on the wall and enjoy for hopefully many years to come. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment on my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.